So here's your birthday card because Helen went to buy one and the birthday cards only went up to 85. So we thought we'd have to make one for you. So what we want to say, I guess, is the usual. And of course, it's from so there you go. But with this birthday card, if you really want to enjoy it, then you're going to have to look inside. And when I say look inside, I mean look way inside and see what you find. So here we are inside the birthday card. And what I wanted to do first was to try to put a little perspective on 90 years for you, and specifically your 90 years. And so just keep watching and you'll see how I try to do that. Okay, so here we are trying to get a little perspective on time. And if you take a look at this, you see that over here on this side, we have life expectancy in years. As it says here, the average number of years a newborn child would live if current mortality patterns were to stay the same. So life expectancy here, a little interesting that it only goes up to 85. So that's interesting for you on your 90th birthday. And then down here on this side, we have income per person in adjusted dollars. And here, all these little bubbles are many of the countries of the world. We have the good old USA here, and United Kingdom. Here's Norway up here. So they're living quite a long time as compared to the others, but making less money. So I started at 1850. You weren't born in 1850, but what I did is I went 90 years back from where you were born, and so to show sort of the 90 years before you, and then we'll show what's happened during your lifetime as far as people increasing their life expectancy and how much money. And I think really the point I want to make here, which you probably already know, is just how much improvement in the world that you've seen in your 90 years. So let's start it. And so we're starting here at 1850 and we'll go to approximately 1920. And things are just kind of hovering around there. There's a little bit of movement, at least by some countries, but not so much. And it just starts to kind of get going around the time you're born. So we 1 year passed. But I think what's more fun now is to watch what happens. You see, the United States and some other countries are climbing quite a bit in life expectancy and slowly in earnings. But watch what happens now from when you were born until approximately the present. Just a little after World War II, things just took off. And that represents an amount of growth that's obviously unprecedented in history. And you see that many countries now are having far greater life expectancy than before and earning more money too. There are some countries that are still lagging behind, many of them African, and down here we have Afghanistan. So there's still room for improvement. But the overall picture has been incredibly positive in your 90 years, and I'm sure you had something to do with it that everything got so good so fast. But I just wanted to point that out before we go over to a few other things. If I was going to list all the changes that you've seen, then this would be a really, really long birthday video. But I'll just mention a couple here and then focus on a couple more in a little more depth. For example, when you were born, only about 20% of households in America even had electricity. So you can imagine then how they were doing on things like televisions, computers, and the like. And cars went from looking like this to this now. Airplanes from this to this. But for me, a little more impressive in the terms of flight are some of the things we've done as far as going into space. And that's especially important for me in regards to you because as I remember, if I remember correctly, I was with you guys and saw the landing on the moon at the neighbor's house next to you guys. That's how, at least how my mind recalls it now. I can remember the feeling of sitting there really more than what I saw on the television, but I just remember being gathered in this living room and watching on TV with everybody, people walking on the moon. And I think I had no idea just how big that was, but I'm sure you did, having seen so many changes in your life. And here's the image that I think must have been one of the most profound, was to see the Earth from a distance, and so we can really get a feeling for our place in the universe. About 20 years later, this would be changed again when this picture was taken by the Voyager 1 spacecraft. And this picture is famous as the pale blue dot. And that small, tiny speck with a circle drawn around it is Earth. And it's a picture that's taken from about 4 billion miles away. But that wasn't all that you've seen in your lifetime, because we've even looked even farther than that. When you were born, the smartest people in the world, and including Einstein, believed that the extent of our universe was the galaxy where we live, the Milky Way. But when we managed to get the Hubble telescope up into space and get it up and running, it revealed a universe filled with galaxies like ours, and that we now know that there's literally billions, probably hundreds of billions of galaxies like ours. So, in your life, not just the economy and lifespan has grown, but you've seen an incredible expansion of what we know about where we are in the cosmos. And that I think you're very, very privileged, as we all are. That's all great, but let's bring it back down to earth. And what it's always been about for me, and I think for most all of us together, is our family. And you've just been a super, super duper grandpa, and a dad, and a husband, I know, and all the above. And here's a little shot of a good bit of your family, and let's not forget, those guys are here too now. So think of that, man. All your great-grandchildren, and you have a 20-year-old great-grandson, and all the rest. And we all care about you more than you can imagine. And I could say a million things here, but I think it's time to sign off. But on a birthday, you need the happy birthday song, And I think having gotten to 90, you deserve some fireworks. So here you go.